the greatest thing that holds us back is living for someone else's opinion of us. One of the biggest mistakes that I've made, and I see other people make, is making decisions on how to live life out of fear that someone is going to judge us for doing things in a certain way. Now, it's not about the fact that we need to let go of others' opinions, because that's part of our human experience. We are going to care what others think about us. What it is about is going to be discerning the opinions that matters, making peace with opinions that don't align, and learning to live from an authentic place that serves us and our goals in a healthy manner. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is you have to embrace the reality of caring. You have to accept that seeking validation and seeking connection is natural. It's part of the human experience. We are social creatures. We want to love. We want to be connected. But rather than shutting off from that caring, focus on managing your sensitivity to rejection and understanding why you value certain opinions over others, right? Whether we have certain traumas and we are looking to have those needs validated through a romantic partner, or our parents have raised us a certain way that have caused us to seek validation based on our performance in X, Y, and Z manner, we need to become aware of these wounds that we have and start to nurture and love those versions of ourselves. One thing that's really worked for me is just realizing that everyone goes through the same experience and that their judgment upon you is actually a judgment upon themselves. Because when I make judgments upon the world and I'm like, oh, this person makes me mad, this person is annoying, this and that, that's really a reflection of my internal state and how I feel. So first, just become aware of that. Become aware of the fact that it's okay to seek validation and seek connection, but it is no longer going to be a driving factor when it comes to doing what's best for us and living an authentic life and living in alignment. Now, point two, you have to recognize false confidence. You have to realize when people are talking themselves up and coming from a fake place of security because they're actually just looking for validity and security from an external source. I've found in my own journey and from really wise people that I've come across that authenticity and humility and transparency are some of the grandest forms of confidence. Because it's not our ability to put the best version of ourselves in the light. It's about our ability to be in tune and make peace with the dark version of ourselves that we don't like to show the world. And the people that have done that will have humility because they will not judge you for the things you do. They're going to see themselves in you, the things they've been through. And they're just going to be able to love the versions of ourselves that we don't want to show the world, because true confidence includes being selective about the opinions that we take value from, that we take in a discerning manner, right? For example, there's some people in my life where their opinion does not matter because I can see how they live. I'm like, okay, you tell me these things, you give me wisdom in this manner, but have you actually looked in the mirror to see how your life has panned out? So that's just a way that I look at certain things and kind of discern opinions based on that. Now, something I touched on earlier, another point we need to talk about is you have to examine why criticism hurts. Now, criticism often hurts because it's pointing at a truth. And what may not necessarily be a truth that someone is telling you, it may be something that you know internally that you need to address, right? I used to be so upset when my mom would call me out for smoking weed. She'd be like, dude, like, why are you still doing this? And it would get to the point where she's like, I don't even care, but I'm not going to take responsibility. If you do this, not in my house, get out. And it wasn't the fact that I was smoking weed or she was pointing at it, but it was because I knew deep down that was something that I shouldn't be doing. That was a version of myself that not only I needed to heal, but I needed to move on from. I needed to grow from, right? That's why the pain hurts, because we're touching a sensitive spot that you need to evolve, to learn and grow. And it's nothing to judge. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's something that actually adds to your journey. That version of me is the version of you, the version of me that you get to see right now. I just have more wisdom. I have more experience. I've made it through more seasons and more karmic loops to be able to have this conversation and understand and discern this wisdom in this manner. Now, Another thing I want to talk about is the overcoming of external validation addiction, right? We have so many inputs from the external world. We have so many modern stress triggers that's where we're getting our dopamine from, right? So our dopamine, things that give us happiness, things that give us fulfillment, we are finding in external sources. So we are programming our subconscious mind to seek those things, right? In romantic relationships, we could just be looking for the validation that someone wants to sleep with us, that we are attractive, that we are worthy, without considering the fact that this person might actually be interested in us and we're just looking for that validation. It could be on the micro level of social media, that we post scandalous pictures, we flex our success, we flex our cool apartments to get likes, to get validated. And a famous doctor said they would not have gone the path they went because they wished that they didn't have a need to validate their existence to the world. And that's something that I want to encourage you guys to factor into your decisions with life, that life is short. And if we didn't have this black hole or this wound that we were trying to get validated or we were trying to get filled out of love from the external world, and we actually filled that ourselves, which gave us this confidence and gave us no longer a need to validate our existence to the world, how would you live and how would you go with that fulfillment and confidence? Another thing I want you to do is identify and stand on your values, because when I was young, in my early 20s, I was a part of the entrepreneurship matrix, this young online internet make money hustle culture type of grind set. And I thought that my value was based on the businesses I ran, how cool I was, the car I drove, how much money I made. And now I can sit before you at 25 and say, I don't give a shit about that. I actually just severed ties and gave 40% of a business I owned away yesterday, because that's not how I want to live my life. What I actually want is authentic connection. I want real connection. I want my ability to be here, be present, be human. Wake up every day and not have stress on my mind and be able to have peace, be able to open the door for a stranger, be able to have a conversation with the cashier, be able to call my family members and just not have my mind elsewhere when I have a conversation with them. When your values are clear, criticism becomes less impactful because you're grounded in self-belief. That's a huge thing. So when I come into this space of entrepreneurship and I meet these people and I come across these people, I don't judge them. They don't upset me because I was in their shoes, but I just have a deeper grounding on my values now. My roots are deeper planted. So I'm not going to let those things sway me. I'm not going to let those things judge me. I'm not going to let other people's opinions or potential words of guidance sway me when I know how I want to live my life. Because I would prefer to have peace of mind on a beach in Tulum than I would sitting in a high-rise apartment struggling to run a 6-figure a month business. That just comes from the experience, and I went down the path and I realized it wasn't for me, and I turned around and here I am sitting before you. Now, another point that I want to talk about is the power of self-validation, right? We can do things daily that give us self-respect, that give us confidence where we no longer seek validation from the external world. And that's why people say it's about what you do in the dark that puts you in the light. Because the only person we can't lie to is the man or the woman in the mirror. That's the only person that we can't cheat at the end of our life. So start doing things out of self-respect, because I'm actually going to try and pull up something that I saw on social media. It was this image, and on the left side of the carousel, it was the devil, and it said, "Satisfy the urge now. Don't worry about later." And on the right side, it was an angel, and it said, "In each small indulgence, you give away a piece of your freedom. When you resist, you reclaim it. Remember, strength isn't born from ease, it's forced in struggle. Each time you choose to stand firm, you're building a legacy of resilience. The harm isn't in the act itself, but in the slow erosion of your will." Now, this is how we develop self-respect for ourselves. This is how we develop self-validation. If you got a toxic ex, stop hitting them up. If you got a porn addiction, don't even let you get yourself to a place where you need to watch porn. If you're addicted to weed, just say no for 24 hours. That's a win. If you want to get in shape, go on a walk, go to the gym, check that first box. This is why being present is so important, because it's your ability to be here now and make the decision you may need to make, even though it's hard. Now, another point that I want to touch on to kind of close out this video is heal in private so you can shine in public. Because when you're healing, it's not going to be a fun process. It will be painful because you're overcoming these old thoughts, emotions that no longer serve you, and it's a shedding of a layer. It is literal ego death. So don't be afraid to do that alone. Don't be afraid to do that in private. You need to work on understanding and healing your insecurities privately, which will strengthen your confidence and that self-validity that you have for yourself. Remember, self-improvement is a continuous journey, and growth comes from within, not what others say or think. We don't need to validate based on what the world tells us or what we think they want to see from us. It's actually about our ability to have strength in our authentic values, strength in ourselves, decide what we want for this life. Because how would I be able to know how you're supposed to live your life because you're the one living it? Just like how would you know how I need to live my life because I'm the one living it? You come to realize that there are patterns, but there are truths that we need to make based on who we are and how our mind works that are going to better serve us. So if you like this video and you want to hear more from me, go check out my newsletter in the description. I talk about life. I synthesize these concepts. Once again, I'm always trying to be authentic, just build real connection and share wisdom and share insights that I'm finding and I'm learning on my journey that is helping me, and I hope it serves you as well. So drop a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.